Because look, she's a communist, you know that. I used to say Marxist, but unfortunately nobody knows what that is. Most people said, what's a Marxist? Is that a good thing or a bad? I said, I have to use the word communist, okay? Do you mind? Does anybody mind? It's close. And by the way, they're close enough.
First of all, Donald Trump has no idea what a communist or a Marxist is. So when he says that, he's basically projecting. But this is not the first time that Donald Trump has absolutely insulted his crowd. I mean, when he went out and took that cognitive test that he thought made him a genius, when he was saying person, woman, man, camera, TV, he told his audience that only 2% of them could pass the cognitive exam that he took. Now he's telling them, I had to stop saying Marxist because you idiots don't know what that means. So I have to say communist now. But Donald Trump was probably asked, hey, what's a Marxist? And because he couldn't answer it, he assumes no one in his audience can either. So because of that, he is now trying to call Kamala Harris a communist. And here is the craziest part about it. Remember when Donald Trump, the second attempt on his life happened at the golf course? They started talking about how we need to tone down the rhetoric. No one should call Donald Trump a Nazi because that's emboldening these people to try and take his life. But Donald Trump has yet to turn down the rhetoric. He has been calling Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and even Barack Hussein Obama, as he loves to say, and even Hillary Clinton, he has been calling all of them Marxists and communists ever since he's run against them or has had problems with Barack Obama. So there's no toning down the rhetoric for him. I mean, the person who is most famous for calling him Hitler is his running mate, J.D. Vance. Yet he wants, the Democrats to tone down the rhetoric, which none of them have actually ever said he was Hitler. They have pointed out when some of his rhetoric is very, very close to what Hitler has said, but no one has ever said that. But it's absolutely psychotic to me that these people on the right keep saying how, Democrats are putting a target on Donald Trump's back by calling him Hitler or by saying he's a threat to democracy, when at the same time, he goes to every one of his rallies and every single time calls Kamala Harris a Marxist or a communist and never tones down the rhetoric. So please miss us with this idea that there's a target on him for what people are saying, because Republicans try to pretend that words mean nothing. Remember, Donald Trump went to the Capitol on January 6th and told the crowd to go to the Capitol and fight like hell because the election was stolen from him. And now that he's going to be on trial for that, he's saying, those words didn't mean anything. Words only seem to mean something when Democrats are saying it and when people are threatening his life. But when he's out there, calling Kamala Harris a socialist and a Marxist and a communist and, saying Nancy Pelosi's house had a wall around it, but it didn't do anything for her because her husband was attacked by someone. When he's doing all of that, no one says a thing. They don't talk about rhetoric being too inflammatory or anything like that. They just ignore it all. I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it again because it's very important. The Republican Party is unserious. They're an unserious party. They don't do anything for the American public. Donald Trump is an unserious candidate for president. Please get out and vote. Remember, as I always say, don't just check your own voter registration, check your kids' voter registration, check your parents' voter registration, check your family, your friends. Let everyone know to check their voter registration. Make sure they get out to vote. Don't just take yourself to the polls. Take your 18-year-old sons and daughters to the polls. Take your grandparents to the polls. Take your neighbor. Make sure that everyone who you know that is voting blue gets to the polls in November, because this election is definitely that important. Period.